Okay, hello, and welcome to, do you know what? I don't even know what this is called, but it's going to be the start of either a podcast or just me putting some content out there to help whoever needs it. And I want to teach you or help you understand something that I've learned. So if you are someone that sets about, like every Monday, it's kind of like, I'm going to start again. And you start out with all the great intentions, but by Monday, Tuesday, we're on it. Wednesday, things are starting to unravel a little bit. And by Thursday, we're really tired. You're running about after the kids. You have had enough at work. There's all this other stress and pressure happening. You cannot be asked to make yet another decision. And the thought of cooking just absolutely sends you into it is. I don't know what other words to describe it other than it's just you can't be bothered. You have no capacity left for it. And it just feels like you're climbing Everest and, there's no reward at the end of it, even if you did go and create a gourmet meal, because half the time the kids are just like, oh, what's that? I don't want to eat that. Anyway, I get it. I understand all of those things. And coming from someone who has lost weight and coaches women to lose weight and really focuses on behaviour change and the way that we think about stuff, because I think that is such a huge part of why we're either successful and sometimes why we're not so successful. And, I used to say to myself all the time that I don't want to meal prep. Like, I was scarred after some really, back in the day, some very heavy duty meal plans that I used to follow to the letter to try and get this result that I was after. And I was like, I don't want to meal prep anymore. I don't have the time or the capacity. That's not what I want to do. But I took a little bit of those lessons that I was digging my heels in, and I was like, do you know what? I don't want to go to that extent of meal prepping like I did before, but there are actually some things that I can utilize from it to make my life easier. So I want to share some of that stuff. And I know that none of us have the same 24 hours a day. We absolutely do not. There are different demands. There are different pressures on all of us. But I do think that there are ways that we can help ourselves, that sometimes we need to just give ourselves a little bit of right, come on, you can do this, but we get to do it in our way, in a way that's going to work for us. So like I said, I didn't want to go back down the whole route of super planning and prepping everything within an inch of its life. For me, one of my values is I want freedom. I want freedom across the board, but I also want that freedom to come into how this is going to help my well-being and how are my choices going to align up with this value of that I have. I want freedom to eat whatever I want, whenever I want, but also I still want a result and I still want to maintain a physique that I'm working on right now. So like I said, I didn't want to start prepping chicken and rice and all the broccoli to an inch of its life. But there were parts of my days and my weeks where I was like, I need to have some structure. I need to have something that's going to help me just make my life easier and help me stick to either my fat loss phase, seeing results, whatever it is. I know I needed some structure. So I was like, right, let me just take the bits that I find useful and put them into my life. And that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. So I might buy a whole chicken and I will roast it up for the week and I will shred it and I have that in my fridge. I will buy ready-made mashed potato that I can just stick in the microwave and turn it on. Same with frozen veg, even with tins of tuna. I will buy things that are those salmon in the packets that you can just microwave. I will go shopping every single week and I will make sure that there is an element of these pre-cooked, ready to go, easy assemble, that's what I like to call them, assemble meals that I can just throw in the microwave and I can create a decent, nourishing meal within minutes. And it doesn't take up any brain power or extra decision making. And I found that by doing that, what I managed to do is prevent myself by Thursday from burnout and being digging my heels in and it's takeouts. So it's worked in a way that I meal prep, but I meal prep in a way that works for me. So like I said, I will batch cook some meat or some mince and I will have it as a chili or a bolognese and I will add that to things. But then I will also just have things in my cupboard that I can open up and put with that to accumulate a meal. And I found that kind of meal planning makes a big difference and it helps me stay on point with my calorie range, with the targets that I'm aiming for. And it helps the women that I work with as well. Like, I help them understand, what does meal prep look like to you? What do you want that to be for you? How do you want that structure to be in your life? And why do you need it? And how does these things that you're doing then help you in the week make these aligned choices that go hand in hand with the result that you want? So you're always calling the shots. You're always the one that is in charge, but you're not having to either have to cook a gourmet meal from scratch every single evening, spend hours over a hot stove, but you can just put things in the oven to heat through or warm up. And you can build your plate from the most simplest of ways, and it just saves so much time and energy instead of stressing over it. And then you find that by Friday, then you're not hitting the, I haven't made it to Friday and I've messed everything up moment. I've actually eaten really well. I've managed to stick to the calories that I want to be consuming. The behaviors that I'm engaging in are helping me feel great, and I'm feeling energized because I'm putting, lots of nourishing foods into my body, but I'm not stressing myself out. I'm not overthinking everything. I'm not, over calculating every single calorie and macronutrient mathematician's brain going on to make sure that you are just ticking all the boxes in a very rigid way. And I like to help women find just easier ways to do things. And what you'll find is that by being able to do this and take on a little bit of the assembledness, the easiness approach, like buying in pre-cooked veggies, even pre-cooked meats, whatever it is, boiling up loads of eggs on a Sunday night, so you've got 3 or 4 days worth of boiled eggs in your fridge. All of those little things, they make a big difference. And a little bit of meal prep, but in a way that works for you, goes such a long way and really helps you just stay on the right path with the results that you want week in and week out. And again, I'm not someone that believes in perfection. I just don't, we can't be perfect. We're human beings. And I started to focus on, and I get my ladies to focus on, what is doable this week? What can you do? And what are the behaviors that you can engage in that help you create that unit, that system that's going to work really well for you, and also help you then make choices aligned with the result that you want. And so anyway, I decided today I was going to get up and I was going to film something and I'm going to put it out there. So I have, and I want you to think, do you know what? I could take something from this and I could actually go off and pop to the supermarkets and buy some ready-made stuff to just put together and, assemble a meal together so that my Tuesday and my Wednesday and my Thursday go a little bit smoother than what they might have been going previously. And just do it, try it, see what works for you. And like I said, you might find that just that small bit of planning and a little bit of intention behind what you're doing makes a huge difference to the way that your whole week goes. And then by Friday, you'll be feeling really empowered by yourself and, celebrating the fact that you did this. You made an effort in a different way. And it wasn't it didn't have to be 100% perfect. It just needed to have some structure and a little bit less thinking in some ways, but having the, like I said, taking the perfectionism out of it and being actually, that's a damn good idea. I can do these things. I can go and get some easy, quick, assembled things in my home to support my goal. So I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to commit to doing this, and I will drop in with another one next week. If there's anything that you liked about this, or you would like me to cover, or there's certain things that you are maybe struggling with right now, or you're stressing over coming up into the winter months, then please comment, let me know, and I would love to, I'd love to just help, because my whole thing and my whole ethos around my business is just empowering women and helping women show up for themselves on a daily basis. And the byproduct of that is that you will see behavior change, you will change the way that you think about yourself and the way that you may have lost weight in the past, and you get to have a nice experience when it comes to losing weight and also developing habits that are going to keep you thriving for years after. So I'm going to leave that there. I'm Bex. I should have probably said that at the beginning, but I will speak to you all next week, and thank you to anybody who watches and listens.